Welcome to BL Hub. If you're a lover of boys' love stories or you do kick your legs while watching two men kissing, then you are at the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share before we dive into this story. Thank you.
Daddy, look. That man looks exactly like me. Leo's voice rang out loud and clear, cutting through the mundane hum of weekend shoppers. I froze, my hand tightening on the cart handle. I followed his pointing finger. There, at the end of the aisle, stood a man in a dark leather jacket, reaching for a box of oatmeal. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the same sharp jawline and thick, wavy black hair that Leo had inherited. Even from 20 feet away, the resemblance hit me like a punch to the gut. My breath caught. It couldn't be. The man turned, sensing the stare. His dark eyes I'd once foolishly thought were intense and passionate, locked onto Leo first, then slid up to me. Time stopped. Caleb. Thanks. The man who'd promised forever and delivered hell. The man I'd fled in the middle of the night with nothing but a duffel bag and a positive pregnancy test I'd hidden from him. The man whose name I hadn't spoken aloud in years. His lips parted slightly in shock. Then a slow, disbelieving smile spread across his face, the same smile that used to make my knees weak before it turned cold and cruel. Elias, he said, voice low but carrying perfectly in the quiet aisle. He took a step forward. Is that our son? Leo twisted in his seat, beaming up at the stranger who looked like an older version of himself. See, Mommy? He looks just like me. Are we twins? My heart hammered so violently I thought I might pass out. I gripped the cart until my knuckles went white. Every instinct screamed to run, to grab Leo and bolt for the exit. But Caleb was already closing the distance, his gaze flicking between Leo and me with growing certainty. He has my eyes, Caleb murmured almost to himself. Then louder, Elias. You kept him from me. The accusation in his tone was velvet-wrapped steel. Shoppers glanced curiously as they passed, but no one stopped. No one ever stopped. I found my voice, though it came out shaky. We need to go, Leo. Now. I tried to turn the cart, but Caleb moved faster, placing himself in our path. Not touching, never touching in public, that wasn't his style, but blocking us all the same. Just a minute, he said softly, crouching down to Leo's level. Hey buddy, what's your name? Leo, my son answered proudly, completely oblivious to the tension crackling in the air. And you're my twin. Caleb chuckled, but his eyes stayed on me, predatory, calculating. Leo, that's a strong name. I'm Caleb. He held out his hand for a childish high five, which Leo happily delivered. I wanted to scream, to shove him away. But we were in public, and Caleb had always been careful about appearances. How old are you, Leo? Caleb asked. 6.5. Leo held up 6 fingers plus 1 for emphasis. Caleb's smile widened, but something dark flickered behind it. 6.5. Interesting. He straightened slowly, never breaking eye contact with me. We should talk, Elias. Properly. About our son. He's not, I started, then stopped. Saying he's not yours would be a lie, and Caleb would know it. The resemblance was undeniable. Mommy, can the twin man come over for dinner? Leo asked innocently. No, I said too quickly. We don't know him, sweetheart. But Caleb was already pulling out his phone. Here's an idea. Why don't I give you my number? In case Leo wants to see his twin again. His emphasis on the word made my skin crawl. I backed the cart up. We really have to go. Elias, he said, voice dropping to that dangerously soft register I remembered too well. You disappeared. With my child. We have things to discuss. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I hadn't given him my number. How? He smiled at my realization. Some things don't change. You still use the same email pattern for everything. He'd found me. Somehow, in this city of millions, he'd found me. Or had this meeting not been coincidence at all? I yanked the cart around him, nearly clipping his leg. Stay away from us. But as I hurried toward the checkout, Leo waving goodbye to his twin, I felt Caleb's eyes burning into my back. And I knew this was only the beginning. By the time we reached the car, My hands were shaking so badly I could barely buckle Leo into his seat. He was still talking excitedly about the man who looked like him, completely unaware that he'd just met the monster from my nightmares. I drove home on autopilot, checking my rearview mirror every 30 seconds. No sign of Caleb's black SUV, but that didn't mean anything. He'd always been patient when he wanted something. That night, after Leo was finally asleep, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my phone. A new text from an unknown number waited. Asterisk, he's beautiful. Just like his father. We need to talk, Elias. Soon. Asterisk. Attached was a photo, taken that day in the supermarket. Leo laughing up at Caleb while I stood frozen in the background. My blood ran cold. How long had he been watching us? I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Caleb's smile in the cereal aisle, the one that looked warm to everyone else but felt like ice to me. Leo's excited voice echoed in my head. He's my twin, Mommy. I kept checking the doors, the windows, the locks. Twice. 3 times. By 3 a.m., I was sitting on the couch with my phone in one hand and a kitchen knife in the other, staring at the text thread from the unknown number. Asterisk, he's beautiful. Just like his father. We need to talk, Elias. Soon. Asterisk. I hadn't replied. I'd blocked the number immediately after reading it. But at 3:17 a.m., a new message appeared from a different number. Asterisk, blocking me won't change facts. He's mine too. Asterisk. My stomach lurched. Another number, 3:42 a.m. Asterisk, I can be reasonable. Coffee tomorrow? Just you and me. Leo can stay with a sitter. Asterisk. Then a photo, our apartment building, taken from the street below. The timestamp was tonight. He'd been here. Outside our home. I nearly threw the phone across the room. Instead, I called the non-emergency police line and reported a possible stalker. The officer was polite but unhelpful. No threats of violence, no crime committed yet, just an ex wanting to talk. They'd keep an eye out. I hung up feeling more alone than ever. Morning came too fast. Leo bounced into the kitchen full of energy, asking if we could invite his twin man to his birthday party next month. No, baby, I said, forcing a smile while pouring cereal. We don't know him. But he looks like me. And he was nice. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I dropped Leo at school and went straight to work. Graphic design freelance from home had been my lifeline these years, but today I needed to be around people. I took my laptop to a busy cafe downtown, one I'd never gone to before. Mistake. I'd barely ordered a latte when my phone buzzed again. New number. Asterisk, wrong move, Elias. You think changing cafes hides you? Asterisk. Attached was a photo of me standing at the counter, taken minutes ago. I spun around, heart slamming against my ribs. The cafe was packed. People on laptops, friends laughing, baristas shouting orders. No sign of Caleb. But he was watching. Or someone was. I left the coffee untouched and drove straight to Leo's school. I signed him out early, claiming a family emergency. The secretary gave me a sympathetic look, but I didn't care. I needed him with me. We spent the afternoon at an indoor playground across town, one with security cameras and lots of witnesses. Leo was thrilled for the extra playtime. I sat on a bench, pretending to scroll social media while actually watching every adult who entered. At 4 p.m., another text. Asterisk, I'm not trying to scare you. I just want to know my son. Asterisk. Then another. Asterisk, I've missed 6 years. You owe me that much, asterisk. I didn't respond, but the words burrowed under my skin. Oh, him. He always twisted things like that. Made me the villain for protecting myself, for protecting Leo. By evening, we were back home. I'd changed the Wi-Fi password, turned off location services on everything, even covered the laptop camera with tape. Paranoid? Maybe. But Caleb had resources. Money. Connections. He'd been a rising tech exec when I left him, charming in boardrooms, cruel behind closed doors. I was cooking macaroni when the doorbell rang. I froze. Leo ran toward the door. Maybe it's the twin man. No. I snapped, sharper than intended. I scooped him up and carried him to the bedroom. Stay here and play your tablet. Loud, okay? He pouted but obeyed. I approached the door with my phone ready to dial 911. Peered through the peephole. Caleb stood there, holding a large stuffed dinosaur, the exact one Leo had been begging for. He was dressed casually now, jeans and a soft gray sweater, looking every bit the handsome, harmless dad. He smiled directly at the peephole, like he knew I was watching. "I come in peace," he called through the door, voice calm and reasonable. "Just wanted to drop off a gift for Leo. No pressure." I didn't move. "I know you're there, Elias," he said softer. "I'm not leaving until we talk. Even if it's through the door." Minutes passed. He didn't ring again. Just stood there patiently. Finally, I cracked the door, chain still latched. "Leave the toy and go." His eyes softened, the same look he used to give me when he wanted forgiveness after a fight. "Can't I even see him for a second? He's my son too." "You lost that right when you put me in the hospital," I hissed, low enough Leo wouldn't hear. His expression flickered, something dark passing over his face before the mask slid back into place. "That was a long time ago. I was different. I've changed. People like you don't change." He leaned closer to the crack in the door. "You kept him from me. That's parental alienation. Courts don't look kindly on that." My blood went cold. "You wouldn't." "I don't want to fight, Elias. I want to be part of his life. Shared custody. Weekends. Holidays. I can provide for him, better schools, better everything. I don't want your money. But he deserves it." He held up the dinosaur. "Let me give him this. Please." Against every instinct, I unlatched the chain and opened the door wider, but only enough to reach out. "Give it to me. I'll tell him it's from Santa early." Caleb's smile returned, triumphant. He handed over the toy, but his fingers brushed mine deliberately. "You still bite your lip when you're nervous. Some things don't change." I snatched the dinosaur and stepped back. "One coffee," he said quickly. "Tomorrow. Neutral place. Just to talk about arrangements. If you don't show, I'll have to go through lawyers. You know I can afford the best." He turned and walked away before I could answer, hands in his pockets like he hadn't just threatened me. I slammed the door, locked it, chained it, deadbolted it. Leo came running when I called him. His eyes lit up at the dinosaur. "Wow. How did you know I wanted this one?" "Magic," I whispered, hugging him tight. That night, I lay awake again, researching family lawyers on my phone under the covers. Caleb had money, power, charisma. I had a police report from 5 years ago that he'd somehow gotten dismissed as mutual combat, and a son who looked exactly like him. The courts loved biology. At 2 a.m., I made a decision. I texted the latest number he'd used. *1 coffee. Tomorrow. Public place. You stay 10 feet away from Leo forever if I say no to everything. The reply came instantly. Deal. 10 a.m. Riverside Cafe. I'll be the one smiling. I stared at the message until the screen went dark. I was walking into the lion's den. But maybe, just maybe, I could negotiate a truce. Or maybe I was making the biggest mistake of my life. I arrived at the Riverside Cafe 20 minutes early, chose the table furthest from the entrance, back to the wall, clear view of every door. The place was crowded with the mid-morning rush, families, remote workers, dog walkers grabbing coffee before the park. Witnesses everywhere. That was the plan. I ordered a black coffee I had no intention of drinking and kept my phone face up on the table, recorder app running discreetly. If Caleb tried anything, I wanted proof. At 9:58 a.m., he walked in. He looked annoyingly good. Tailored navy coat over a crisp white shirt, hairstyle just enough to look effortless. Heads turned as he scanned the room. When he spotted me, his face softened into that easy, disarming smile that had fooled so many people, including me once. He didn't rush. He ordered at the counter first, an Americano and a chocolate croissant, then carried the tray straight to my table. No surprise detours, no dramatic glances around. He was playing the calm, reasonable father today. "Elias," he said quietly, setting the tray down. "Thank you for coming." He didn't try to hug me or touch my hand. He simply sat opposite, leaving the croissant in the middle like a peace offering. I didn't touch it. You have 15 minutes. Then I leave. He nodded, wrapping both hands around his cup. Fair. Silence stretched for a few seconds while he studied me. I hated that he still looked at me like he owned pieces of my soul. You look tired, he said finally. Are you sleeping? That's none of your business. He exhaled slowly. Straight to it. I want to be in Leo's life. Supervised visits to start. I'll pay child support, backdated if you want. Private school, activities, whatever he needs. I don't want your money. I know. But he deserves it. And I deserve to know him. His voice stayed low, almost gentle. He's incredible, Elias. Smart, funny, confident. You've done an amazing job. The compliment landed like a trap. Praise first, then the knife. I leaned forward. You don't get to waltz in after 6 years and play doting dad. You don't get to rewrite history. His jaw tightened, but he kept his tone even. I'm not rewriting anything. I know what I did. I was out of control back then. Anger issues, long hours, drinking too much. I've been in therapy for 4 years. Weekly. I can show you the records. I laughed, short, bitter. Therapy doesn't erase bruises, Caleb. No, he admitted. It doesn't. But it helps me not create new ones. He paused, eyes searching mine. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking for a chance to be something better for him. I stared at him. Part of me wanted to believe it, wanted Leo to have a father who wasn't a ghost story I could never tell. But the larger part remembered waking up in the ER with a fractured rib and Caleb crying at my bedside, promising it would never happen again. It happened 3 more times before I left. What do you actually want? I asked flatly. Start slow. 1 afternoon a month, supervised. You pick the location. Public playground, zoo, whatever makes you feel safe. I'll follow every rule. If Leo doesn't like me, if you see even a hint of the old me, I walk away forever. No lawyers, no custody battle. I'll sign whatever you want. I hated how reasonable he sounded. Hated that he'd clearly rehearsed this. And if I say no completely? His fingers tightened around the cup. Then I file for paternity and visitation. DNA test, court mediation, the whole thing. I don't want to do that. It would hurt you, stress Leo, cost a fortune. But I will if you force me. There was the velvet threat underneath the calm. I glanced at my phone timer. 8 minutes left. Why now? I asked. You could have looked for us years ago. He looked down at the table. I did look. For the first 2 years. Private investigator, everything. You vanished like a pro. New name, new city, cash only. I gave up. He met my eyes again. Then last week, I saw Leo's picture on a local mom's Facebook group. Someone posted about the indoor playground, tagged you by accident. I recognized him instantly. My skin crawled. So it hadn't been random in the supermarket. He'd already known. You've been stalking us. Researching, he corrected softly. Making sure you were both safe. I wasn't going to approach until I saw you in person, until I knew you weren't with anyone else. The possessiveness in that last sentence made my stomach turn. I am with someone else, I lied. Serious. He's good with Leo. Something sharp flashed across Caleb's face before he masked it. Then he won't mind me being a father from a distance. Co-parenting works in blended families all the time. I drained the last cold sip of my coffee just to have something to do with my hands. I need time to think. Of course. He slid a business card across the table, thick cream stock, new company logo. My cell's on there. Take all the time you need. But Elias, he waited until I looked up. Don't disappear again. I'll find you faster this time. The words were quiet, almost kind. That made them worse. He stood, leaving the croissant untouched. Thank you for hearing me out. Tell Leo his dad says hi. He walked out without looking back. I sat there another 10 minutes, replaying every word, every expression. Then I paid and left through the side exit, taking a long, looping route home to make sure no one followed. Leo was with my friend Mara for the morning. She'd agreed to watch him without asking too many questions. When I picked him up, he launched into my arms, smelling like crayons and juice boxes. Did you have fun with the twin man? He asked immediately. My heart stuttered. How did you know I saw him? You said you were having coffee with a friend. He's the only new friend. It's too smart. We just talked, buddy. Grown-up stuff. Is he really my dad? Leo asked, tilting his head. Because he looks like me, and you got super quiet when I said that. I knelt down to his level. Is your father this? Biologically. But being a dad is more than that. It's being there every day, keeping you safe, loving you no matter what. Was he not there because you fought? The question punched the air out of my lungs. Something like that. Leo thought about it, then hugged me tight. I have you. That's enough. I held him until my eyes stopped burning. That night, after Leo was asleep, I stared at Caleb's business card. Then I opened my laptop and started researching everything I could: custody laws in our state, rights of abusive parents, how much weight therapy records carried, success rates for restraining orders based on old incidents. At 1 a.m., my phone lit up with a new text from Caleb. Asterisk, thank you for today. I meant every word. Here's a photo from the playground last week. Leo going down the big slide. He's fearless, asterisk. Attached was a crystal clear shot of Leo mid-slide, laughing wildly, taken from a distance with a zoom lens. He was still watching. I didn't reply. Instead, I saved the photo, the text, the timestamp. Evidence. Because if Caleb thought he could charm or intimidate his way back into our lives, he was about to learn I wasn't the same scared 23-year-old who ran away pregnant and broke. I'd built a life for Leo. A good one. And I would burn the world down before I let Caleb destroy it. I said yes to one supervised visit. Not because I believed Caleb had changed. Not because I wanted peace. But because I knew if I kept saying no, he would drag us through court, and biology plus money usually wins. At least this way I controlled the terms. Public place, short time, me present the entire time. We agreed on a Saturday morning at the city zoo. Neutral, crowded, lots of exits. I told Leo a simplified version, that the man from the supermarket was his biological father and wanted to say hello. Leo's reaction was pure 6-year-old excitement. Will he push me on the swings? I didn't have the heart to dampen it. I spent the week preparing like it was a battle. New prepaid phone for emergencies. Pepper spray in my coat pocket. Mara on standby to call the police if I texted red. I even emailed a family lawyer I'd found online, attaching screenshots of Caleb's texts and the zoomed playground photo. Her reply was cautious but clear. Document everything, don't be alone with him, consider a restraining order if he escalates. Saturday arrived cold and bright. I dressed Leo in his favorite dinosaur hoodie, the one Caleb had indirectly bought, and we arrived at the zoo entrance 15 minutes early. I scanned the crowd constantly. Caleb was already there, leaning against the ticket kiosk with 2 cups of hot chocolate and a small gift bag. He wore jeans, a warm parka, and a nervous smile that almost looked genuine. Almost. Daddy Caleb. Leo shouted before I could stop him, sprinting forward. The word daddy hit me like a slap. Caleb's eyes widened, then softened as he crouched down, letting Leo crash into him for a hug. Hey, champ, Caleb said, voice thick. He looked up at me over Leo's shoulder. Thank you. I nodded stiffly. 1 hour. We stay together. You don't take him anywhere alone, even to the bathroom. You raise your voice or grab him, we leave immediately. Understood. He handed Leo one of the hot chocolates. Extra marshmallows, just like I used to like. Leo beamed. How did you know? Lucky guess. Caleb winked, then offered me the second cup. I shook my head. We moved through the gates. Leo led the way, chattering nonstop, dragging both of us by the hand toward the penguin exhibit. For a few minutes, it was almost normal. Caleb listened to Leo's endless facts about animals, asked good questions, laughed in all the right places. He didn't touch me, didn't crowd me. He kept at least a foot of space at all times. At the monkey island, he pulled the gift bag out. Inside was a high-quality toy camera, the kind that actually takes real photos. So you can document your adventures, Caleb told Leo. Like a real explorer. Leo squealed and immediately started snapping pictures of everything. Monkeys, me, Caleb, the zookeepers. Caleb helped him adjust the settings, patient and engaged. I watched from a few steps back, arms crossed, every nerve on alert. It was going too well. That's what scared me most. Halfway through the reptile house, Leo tugged Caleb toward a massive python behind glass. Look how big! Caleb knelt beside him. Cool, right? Reminds me of when I was a kid, I was terrified of snakes. Really? Leo giggled. You're not scared now? Nope. Because I'm with you. Caleb ruffled Leo's hair gently. Leo leaned into him without hesitation. My chest tightened. I hated how easy it was for Caleb, how quickly Leo trusted him. Biology again. We reached the petting zoo area near the end of the hour. Leo begged to feed the goats. Caleb bought the pellets, and the three of us stood at the fence while Leo held out handfuls, laughing as the goats nibbled. That's when Caleb spoke low, so only I could hear. He's perfect, Elias. You did that. I'm too proud of you. I didn't respond. I know you hate me, he continued quietly, eyes on Leo. I deserve it. But seeing him happy like this, it's everything I didn't know I needed. I glanced at him. His profile looked sincere, jaw tight like he was holding back emotion. Don't manipulate me with feelings, I muttered. I'm not. He turned to face me fully. I'm telling the truth. 1 hour isn't enough. I want more. But I'll wait. I'll prove I can be safe. The timer on my phone buzzed. Hour over. Time to go, I announced. Leo pouted. Already? Caleb crouched again. Hey, listen. Today was the best day I've had in years. Can we do it again soon? Leo looked at me with huge, pleading eyes. Please, Mommy. I forced a smile. We'll talk about it at home. Caleb stood, hands in his pockets. Thank you. Really? He hesitated, then added, I'll text you next week. No pressure. We parted at the exit. Leo waved until Caleb's figure disappeared into the crowd. In the car, Leo talked nonstop about how cool Daddy Caleb was, how he knew all about cameras, how he promised to take him to a real safari one day. Each word twisted the knife deeper. That night, after Leo crashed hard from the excitement, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the photos he'd taken with the new camera. Dozens of shots, animals, selfies with Caleb, one of me smiling despite myself when a goat licked my hand. There was even one Caleb must have taken when I wasn't looking, me and Leo from behind, holding hands, walking toward the giraffe enclosure. The caption Leo had dictated to Caleb, Best Family Day. My phone buzzed. Caleb, asterisk thank you again. He's incredible. Here's my favorite from today, asterisk. Attached was the same family photo. Then another text, asterisk I'll wait as long as you need. But I'm not going anywhere, asterisk. I didn't reply. 2 days later, Leo asked to call Daddy Caleb. I said no. He cried. The first real tantrum in months. 3 days later, a thick envelope arrived in the mail. No return address, but I knew. Inside, a check for $10,000 made out to me, labeled, For Leo's Future. And a handwritten letter. Elias, I know you don't want my money. Keep it in a college fund or burn it. I don't care. But Leo deserves options I can give him. I've instructed my lawyer to draft a custody proposal, every other weekend, alternating holidays, generous child support. No court if you sign voluntarily. If not, we do it the hard way. I don't want to fight. But I will. Think about what's best for him. I stared at the check until the numbers blurred. That same afternoon, Leo's school called. There'd been a man in the pickup line asking about him. Tall, dark hair, said he was the father. Security escorted him off, but he left a note with the office. I picked Leo up early again. The note was simple, a drawing of a stick figure family, man, smaller man, child, holding hands. Underneath, in Caleb's neat handwriting, soon. He was escalating. I called the lawyer that night. We scheduled an emergency consultation. As I hung up, another text came through. Asterisk you can't hide him forever. He needs his father. Asterisk. I finally replied, one line. Come near his school again and I file for a restraining order. His response was immediate. Asterisk do that and I file for full custody. Your choice, asterisk. I turned off the phone, heart pounding. The truce was over. Caleb wasn't going to wait anymore. And I wasn't going to give in. Christmas Eve. The apartment smelled like pine from the little tree we'd decorated together and the gingerbread Leo had helped me bake. He was in his room, wrapping a clumsy crayon drawing for Daddy Caleb, because, despite everything, he'd insisted on including him in our tiny holiday tradition. I hadn't had the heart to stop him. I was on the couch, laptop open, going over the lawyer's latest email. We'd filed for an emergency protective order yesterday after the school incident. The hearing was set for January 5th. She was optimistic: old hospital records, recent texts, the zoomed photos, the unauthorized school visit. It wasn't ironclad, but it was enough to start. My phone vibrated on the coffee table. Unknown number again. A video. I shouldn't have opened it. But I did. It was Leo at the zoo, the day of the visit. Caleb had secretly recorded the whole hour. Leo laughing on his shoulders, feeding goats from Caleb's hand, hugging him goodbye. Upbeat music overlaid it, slow-motion smiles, text on screen, first day with my son. At the end, a new clip, Leo at school recess yesterday, waving at someone off camera. Caleb's voice, soft and proud. He saw me today. He knows who I am. The caption, * Merry Christmas, Elias. Our family is almost complete, *. I felt bile rise in my throat. He'd been at the school again. I called the police immediately. They took another report, said they'd send a unit to his known address. But it was Christmas Eve, short staff, low priority. We'll follow up tomorrow, sir. Tomorrow. I texted Mara in a panic. She offered to come over, spend the night. I told her no, not wanting to drag her into this mess on a holiday. Instead, I double-checked every lock, wedged a chair under the doorknob, and set my phone to record audio all night. Leo came out of his room, eyes shining, holding the wrapped drawing. Can we drop this at Daddy Caleb's house tomorrow? Like Santa does? My heart cracked. We'll see, baby. Come sit with me. We watched a Christmas movie, snuggled under a blanket. He fell asleep halfway through, head heavy on my chest. I carried him to bed, tucked him in, and kissed his forehead. Then I sat in the dark living room, lights off except the tree, waiting for morning. At 11:47 p.m., the intercom buzzed. I froze. No one was expected. Mara would have texted. Delivery drivers didn't come this late on Christmas Eve. I crept to the panel and pressed the button without speaking. Elias, Caleb's voice crackled through, calm and festive. It's cold out here. Let me up. I brought gifts. My blood turned to ice. He was in the building. I have Leo's Christmas presents, he continued louder now. And something for you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. I didn't answer. I dialed 911 silently, whispered the address and situation. The operator said units were on the way, 10 minutes out. Caleb buzzed again. And again. Then knocking, directly on my apartment door. He'd gotten past the lobby lock somehow. Elias, open up. I know you're awake. I can see the tree lights through the window. He'd been watching from the street. I backed away, grabbing the pepper spray from my coat pocket. Police are coming, I said through the door, voice shaking but loud. Leave now. Silence. Then a soft laugh. You think a piece of paper will stop me from seeing my son on Christmas? More knocking, harder. The door rattled in its frame. Leo's bedroom door creaked open. Mommy. Go back to bed, sweetheart, I called, trying to sound calm. It's okay. But he patted out, rubbing his eyes. Is that Daddy Caleb? Before I could stop him, he ran to the door and yelled, Hi, Daddy. Did you bring presents? The knocking stopped. Leo. Caleb's voice softened instantly, warm and delighted. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I've got a ton of presents for you. Can you ask Mommy to open the door? Leo looked up at me, confused. Why won't you open it? It's Christmas. I knelt, pulling him close. Remember how we talked about strangers? Even if they're family, we have rules. But he's not a stranger. He's my dad. The word again. It killed me every time. Caleb spoke again, closer to the door now. Leo, tell Mommy I just want to give you your gifts and say Merry Christmas. 5 minutes. That's all. Leo tugged at my sleeve. Please, Mommy? It's Christmas. Tears burned my eyes. I couldn't explain abuse to a 6-year-old at midnight on Christmas Eve. I couldn't shatter his world tonight. I made a decision I hated. Stay right here, I whispered to Leo. I unlatched the chain, cracked the door just enough to see Caleb's face, flushed from the cold, holding 3 wrapped boxes and a stocking overflowing with candy. His eyes met mine, victorious. 5 minutes, I hissed. In the hallway. Leo stays inside with me. He nodded, stepping back respectfully. Of course. I opened the door wider but blocked the threshold with my body. Leo squeezed past my leg, beaming. Daddy! Caleb crouched, setting the gifts down to hug him tightly. Merry Christmas, son. Leo hugged back without hesitation. I watched every movement, hand tight on the pepper spray in my pocket. Caleb handed Leo the stocking first. This one's just candy and small stuff. The big ones we can open together. Leo dove in, pulling out chocolate, a new toy car, stickers. Thank you. Then Caleb looked at me, really looked, and held out a small flat box wrapped in silver paper. This one's for you. I didn't move. It's not a trick, he said quietly. Just something I kept all these years. Curiosity and stupidity won. I took it. Inside was a necklace, the one he'd given me on our first anniversary. The one I'd left behind when I fled. I found it in the old apartment, he said. Thought you might want it back. Or throw it away. Your choice. I stared at the delicate chain, memories flooding in, good ones tangled with the bad. Leo was already tearing into the bigger boxes. A remote control dinosaur, a science kit, books about animals. He'll love these, I said stiffly. Caleb smiled at Leo, then at me. We could be good at this, Elias. The 3 of us. Sirens sounded in the distance, growing louder. Caleb's head tilted. He heard them too. His expression hardened. You called the cops. You showed up uninvited at midnight. He stood slowly. This could have been peaceful. Leo looked between us, sensing the shift. Are you fighting? No, buddy, Caleb said smoothly. Just grown-up talk. He ruffled Leo's hair one last time. I'll see you soon, okay? Be good for Mommy. He backed away as red and blue lights flashed through the hallway window. 2 officers appeared at the stairwell, hands on holsters. Sir, step away from the door. Caleb raised his hands, calm as ever. Just delivering Christmas gifts to my son, officers. No crime here. One cop looked at me. You want him removed, sir? Yes. They escorted him out. He didn't resist, didn't yell. Just glanced back once, eyes locked on mine, with a look that said this wasn't over. After statements and locks rechecked, the officers left with a promise to patrol the area overnight. Leo was confused and tearful. Why did the police take Daddy away? I held him until he fell asleep again, necklace clenched in my fist. At 3 a.m., I got a text from a new number. Asterisk, you just made this a war. Enjoy your last quiet Christmas, asterisk. I didn't sleep again. Tomorrow was Christmas Day. I'd smile for Leo, make pancakes, open the gifts from Mara and my coworkers. But inside, I knew Caleb wouldn't stop. And the final battle was coming. Christmas morning broke gray and silent. I woke on the couch, neck stiff, pepper spray still clutched in my hand. The tree lights blinked softly, presents untouched beneath it. Leo was still asleep, exhausted from the midnight chaos. I made coffee with mechanical movements, staring out the window at the empty street below. No police cruiser in sight. No black SUV. Just snow starting to fall, soft and deceptive. My phone held one new message, sent at 4:12 a.m. Asterisk, you forced my hand. Check your email, asterisk. I opened my laptop with trembling fingers. The subject line was simple, for Leo. Inside was a single PDF attachment, legal papers. Petition for joint custody. Emergency motion for temporary visitation. Affidavits from colleagues swearing Caleb was a changed man, stable, successful, non-violent. Character references from his therapist. Bank statements showing a trust fund already set up in Leo's name. And worst of all, A psychological evaluation claiming I was exhibiting signs of parental alienation, using outdated incidents to unfairly block a fit father. He'd been preparing this for weeks. There was a personal note at the end. Elias, I never wanted it to come to this. But you left me no choice. Court date is January 10th. Come home to me, both of you, and I'll withdraw everything. We can be the family we were meant to be. I still love you. I never stopped. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. He was going to take Leo from me. Not by force, but by law, slow, clean, irreversible. Leo padded into the kitchen then, hair wild, rubbing his eyes. Merry Christmas, Mommy. I shut the laptop and pulled him into my arms, holding too tight. Merry Christmas, baby. We opened presents in silence at first, his joy forced, mine faked. But kids are resilient. Soon he was laughing over the toys from Mara and my coworkers, begging to play with the remote control dinosaur Caleb had brought. At noon, the intercom buzzed again. I froze. It's me, Caleb's voice said, quieter than last night. Broken. I'm alone. No lawyers, no gifts. Just me. Please, Elias. 5 minutes. Leo looked up, hopeful. Can he come up? Please. I wanted to say no. I wanted to scream at him through the speaker. But the papers loomed in my mind. If I kept escalating, he'd win in court. I buzzed him in. He appeared at the door looking nothing like the polished man I'd seen before. Coat unbuttoned, hair disheveled, eyes red-rimmed like he hadn't slept either. Snow melting in his hair. Can I come in? He asked softly. I stepped aside, blocking Leo from running to him. Living room only. Talk. He nodded, hands visible, and sat on the edge of the couch like he was afraid to take up space. Leo hovered nearby, clutching his dinosaur. Caleb looked at our son first. Hey champ. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Daddy, Leo whispered, then glanced at me for permission. I nodded. Leo climbed onto the couch beside Caleb, not quite touching but close. Caleb swallowed hard. I'm sorry about last night. Showing up like that, it was wrong. I scared you both. Leo looked confused. The police took you. Yeah. Caleb's voice cracked. I messed up. He turned to me then, eyes raw. Elias. I got the papers served to myself this morning. I had my lawyer withdraw everything. It's over. No custody battle. No motions. Nothing. I stared at him. Why? Because I saw Leo's face last night when the police came. He was scared. And I realized, he stopped, breathing shaky. I'm still that guy. The one who uses fear to get what he wants. Money, lawyers, showing up at midnight. It's just a different kind of control. Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. I don't want to win you back by force, he said quietly. I don't deserve you, or him, if that's how I do it. Leo reached out then, small hand on Caleb's arm. Are you sad, Daddy? Caleb's eyes filled. Yeah, buddy. I'm really sad. Because I hurt your mommy a long time ago, and I keep hurting him now. Leo looked at me. But you said people can say sorry and change. I couldn't breathe. Caleb met my gaze, tears slipping down without shame. I've been in therapy for years, but it wasn't enough. Last night broke something in me. I'm checking myself into an intensive program tomorrow, 90 days, inpatient. Domestic violence survivors track. No contact unless you initiate it. He pulled an envelope from his coat and set it on the coffee table. This is the withdrawal confirmation. And a letter giving you full legal decision-making rights until you ever decide otherwise. No strings. I didn't touch it. He stood slowly. I'm going to go now. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I heard you. Finally. Leo slid off the couch and hugged Caleb's legs. Don't go. Caleb knelt, hugging him back fiercely, then let go. I have to champ. So I can get better. For you. He looked at me one last time. I love you both. Always will. If you ever want to find me, you know where I'll be. He walked to the door, hand on the knob. Caleb, I said, my voice barely a whisper. He stopped. I crossed the room, Leo watching wide-eyed. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might shatter. I'm not ready, I said, tears falling now. I don't know if I'll ever be fully ready. But don't disappear completely. Write to Leo. Let him know you're trying. Real trying. Caleb's face crumpled. Yeah. I wiped my eyes. And maybe, when you're done with the program. One coffee. Just to talk. He nodded, unable to speak. Leo ran over and took both our hands, one in each of his small ones. Family, he said simply. Caleb and I looked at each other over his head. No smiles yet. Too much pain still raw between us. But something shifted. A crack in the wall I'd built, letting in the tiniest sliver of light. Caleb left quietly. The door clicked shut. Leo and I spent the rest of Christmas Day building dinosaur worlds on the living room floor, eating gingerbread, watching snow fall. In the weeks that followed, letters came for Leo, handwritten from the treatment center. Drawings, stories, apologies he could understand at 6. No pressure. No demands. I read them first, always. Then read them to Leo. By spring, the letters started including short notes to me. Not love declarations. Just accountability. Progress. Honesty about the work he was doing. One day in April I wrote back. Just 2 lines. What? Keep going. Summer came. Leo turned 7. We invited Caleb to the park, supervised 1 hour. He showed up early, nervous, sober in every sense. Leo ran to him without hesitation. I stayed back at first. Then, slowly I joined them on the bench. We didn't hold hands. We didn't kiss. We barely touched. But we talked. Really talked. About therapy, triggers, boundaries, trust. It was messy. Painful. Slow. Years of healing compressed into careful steps. But step by step, visit by visit, letter by letter, we found our way back. Not to who we were. To something new. Something possible. Because love, real love, doesn't erase the past. It just chooses, every single day, to build something better on top of it. And one ordinary afternoon in late summer, under the same zoo trees where it all began, Caleb took my hand. I let him. Leo laughed between us, swinging our arms. You look exactly like me, he said to Caleb, grinning. Caleb smiled at me over his head, soft, hopeful, changed. Yeah, he whispered. But I'm trying to be better than that. I squeezed his hand. For the first time in years, I believed he could. Thank you for watching, everyone. More stories coming out soon, and if you don't subscribe, you won't be able to get notifications on our newest videos. Thank you once again.